Hi everyone! So I'm going to show you how to create King Bob, and I am very proud to actually own one. This design is by Jess Davies, also known as Craft Lover 17 on Instagram. Please do check out her page. She has some amazing stuff on there. Now, the crown is going to be a completely separate video, and the amount of supplies that you need will be mentioned in that video. So that's going to be separate. So to create King Bob, this is what you're going to need. Now, please know that the body is completely different than the other Minions bodies. So in this video, part 1, I'm going to be showing you how to create Bob's body. So if you did create the body for the other Minions, it's not going to fit. So you can see that it's a different size. Now to review, you're going to need some black, blue. I'm using the Ocean Opaque Blue from Rainbow Loom, the glow in the dark white, gray, yellow, red, and you're going to need, I'm thinking 39 beads. I don't know, I could be off by 1 or 2, but 39, I'm using the little tiny E beads. I mean, if you have a 3mm black bead, any kind of small bead will do. And I am using 2 buttons for the actual robe. I mean, you can do this, this is optional, or you can even do a magic ring with gold bands. So that's what I'm using. I found these at Michael's. And you're gonna need some sort of string to thread your beads onto a single white band. Now in this video, I'm gonna show you how to create these pieces right here. So this is all you're gonna learn from this video today. And then you're gonna have to go to the next part. So I do hope you enjoy, and let's get started. Now we're gonna make the goggle, and I'm gonna show you how to do one, and then you're gonna pause the video and make yourself another. Round 1 of the goggle, we're gonna do 7 single crochets in the magic ring, and I'm using white. So take your first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now bring 7 bands through, 1 at a time. So your first one, other end on your hook, your band over, bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band to bring through, on your hook, and 2 loops over. Make sure you're bringing it to the side. Go back in for your third band, other end on your hook, 2 loops over. Go back in, and you just want to continue. Go back over. And the last band, you want to attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook, and then you can remove off the loom, and you should have 7 stitches. So for round 2 of the goggle, we're going to increase on every stitch. So you're adding 2 bands, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, all the way around. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 14 stitches. So going in our first chain, you're adding 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in, that same stitch to add your second band. Now moving on to the next stitch, and you want to add 2 bands. Back in. And moving on to the next stitch with 2 bands. So you just want to continue until you get to the stitch marker. And the last stitch with 2 bands. So again, you should have 14 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, the pattern is 6 single crochets followed by an increase. So it's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this 2 times. So let's go in our first 6 chains with 1 band. Chain 1 with 1. Chain 2 with 1. Chain 3. Chain 4. Chain 5. Chain 6. And then chain 7. So it's kind of at the top of where your stitch marker is. Chain 7, you're adding 2 bands. Back in. And now you're going to repeat the same thing, 6 single crochets, and where your stitch marker is, you're adding the 2 bands. Next, I'm changing the color to gray. So you should have 16 stitches. Remove that stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to do 16 single crochets and only grabbing the inside loop only. So that means I'm just going to grab the chain facing the center. I'm not going through both, I'm just going to grab the first one. Now in the other Minion tutorials, when I started to change the color on the goggle, I started with a slip stitch. I'm not going to do that this time because you don't really need to. It's inside, you can see the color change right there, but it doesn't give that little bend. So I'm not going to do the little slip stitch, I'm just going to crochet normally. So let's go on our first chain, just grabbing the inside loop only. And I'm going to pull my first band through just the inside loop on my hook and then slide. Moving on to the next, the inside loop only. And then just continuing around. So you're doing 16 single crochets. You're going to do this until you get to your stitch marker. Grabbing the inside loop helps to make that curl to the front. So that's why we're doing this. And don't forget, after round 5, the last round, you want to turn the goggle inside out. And then our last stitch, our last inside loop, you should have 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, our last round, continuing with the gray, we're just doing 16 single crochets, adding 1 band, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Where you start, be careful you don't go in your slip knot, go in your chain and bring your band through. Your last band, you're doing a slip knot to tie it closed, and then we're turning the goggle inside out. last band, slip knot through all of the loops, grab the end and tie it off. Now you can remove the stitch marker, you don't need it anymore on the goggle, and you want to turn it inside out. Now I'm going to hide this slip knot, and I'm just going to go through the stitches. I'm going to bring it through, just bring it through the stitches. I have something in my eye. Okay, this is awkward. I'm not stopping. This one. Okay, so this is what you should have. Now I'm going to show you how to attach the eyes to the goggle. If you are using the safety eye, you're going to want to attach that to the actual strap and then push it through the center of the magic ring here. But that will come later. So, but for now, right now, if you're actually using the little eyes that are in like this, or a button, you could even use a magic ring and create your own eye. That's what you want to attach to the actual goggle. If you are using the safety eye, just used a 15 millimeter in size, so you might want to do the same. Now, pick whatever you're using for the actual eye. If you are doing a magic ring, you'd want to do maybe 5 stitches in the magic ring, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you can just kind of go into your next chain and just tie it off. So with another band. You can hide this band in your little stitches all the way around, and then you can just keep hiding this. Then you can take a white band and put it through the stitches on either side, so through the stitch, bring it through, and this would be your tying band. And then you can bring it through the opposite side, and this would just give the same effect as my normal googly eye there. And that you can just tie. As for this, where your little slip knot is, you might want to make that the bottom of the actual eye. So when I'm attaching these though, I am going just below kind of the googly eye here, the magic circle. So kind of these 2 holes right here, and I'm just going to bring this through, keeping an eye on my cut section, so I don't want that at the top, so the cuts are showing through. And then you're just going to bring them through very carefully, because I keep losing the band on the back here. So just take your time through the other stitch. No, don't make me lose it. I lost it. With great ease, bring it through. Hold on to that band, and then make sure you check your placement after, if it's in a good spot. And that's okay. And then you'd want a white band to bring it through. And then this band you can just kind of hide, going through some of the stitches and just bringing it through and just hiding now. And the same with the other. Round 1 of a suit, we're going to do 8 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now pull 8 bands through, 1 at a time. I'm thinking you all know how to do the magic circle, but I do love to repeat myself, so bring your your band over your loop and make sure you bring that to the side. Go back in for your second band, bring it through on your hook and bring your 2 loops over. I don't know how long I have to go with saying each of these steps of the magic ring. I'm afraid that some people just don't know. So bring your next band through, bring the other loop, the other end on your hook and bring your 2 loops over and bring it to the side. Go back in for your next band to bring through and 2 loops over, and then just continue. Just want to make sure you brought 8 bands through. Now attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook and remove it off the loom. So you should have 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is on your hook. For round 2, we're just going to increase on every stitch. So the pattern is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. You're going to do this all the way around. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 16 stitches. So let's go on our first chain. And we're going to add 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. Same way how we started the body. Next chain with 2 bands. Back in. Next chain with 2 bands. Go back in. That same chain to add your second band. And then just continue all the way until you get to the stitch marker. The last chain, 2 bands. So again, you should have 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to increase to 24 stitches. So you're going to add 2 bands on every second chain. The pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 8 times. So let's go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and you're going to add 1 band. Chain 2, you're going to add 2 bands, one at a time. So go back in that same chain to add your second band, and then just repeat 1, 2. And then continue the same, repeat 1, 2. Back in. Repeat 1, 2. Just do the same thing all the way until you get to the stitch marker. The last stitch with 2 bands. Remove your stitch marker. You should have 24 stitches, and add your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase on every third stitch. So you're going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 8 times, and at the end of round 4, you're going to have 32 stitches. So let's go in our first 2 chains with 1 band. The next with 1. And our third chain, we're adding 2 bands. Back in. And just repeat 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat again, 1, 1, 2. So just continue all the way until you get to the stitch marker. And one more time. So you should have 32 stitches. You can remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, we're going to increase on every 8th stitch. So you're going to do 7 single crochets, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 7 times, and then your 8th stitch, you're adding 2 bands. You're going to repeat this pattern 4 times. At the end of round 5, you're going to have 36 stitches. So let's go in our first 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 1 band. 1, 1, 1, 1. That was chain 2. Chain 3 with 1. Chain 4, chain 5, chain 6, chain 7, and then chain 8, you're adding 2 bands one at a time. Back in, and then you're going to repeat 7 single crochets followed by an increase. Now 2 bands in that 1 chain, and we're going to repeat 7 single crochets followed by an increase. in. And you're going to do this one more time until you get to the stitch marker. Where your stitch marker is, you're adding 2 bands. So let's continue. Back in. You can remove your stitch marker. You should have 36 stitches, and add your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. Again, your piece is going to look like this, and once you're complete, it's going to form its shape. For rounds 6 all the way to rounds 13, you're going to do 36 single crochets. So you're adding 1 band, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Each pile I have 36 bands, so you're going to do 36 stitches. I'm going to do round 6 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done round 13. Now your last band in round 13, you are going to do a slip stitch, which I'll come back just to do it with you, just because we're done on round 13 for the body. So let's start round 6. We're going to go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and adding 1 band. The next stitch with 1. The next with 1. Just 1 single crochet. So just repeating all the way until you get to the stitch marker. You can pause me at any time. I am going to finish this round. So now at the stitch marker, I am going to leave the stitch marker and I'm going to add another one just so I can count the rounds to know that I've done the right amount. So you can pause the video and come back to me when you've completed round 13, remembering that the last band is a slip stitch to tie it closed, or a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm at my last band, making my last stitch with round 13, and this is what I have. You may notice that there's a bit of a bump, but as soon as we sew this onto the body, that all disappears. So we're going to do a slip stitch or a slip knot with our last band. So I'm going in my last stitch where my stitch marker is, and I'm going to bring my band through all of the loops to tie it closed. And then you can remove your stitch marker. You don't need them anymore. And the suit is done. Round 1 of the body, we're going to do 8 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to pull 8 bands through, 1 at a time. So reach in, bring your first band through, put the other end on your hook, and bring your loop over. Bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band to bring through, put the other end on your hook. You have 3 loops, so bring these 2 over the one that was at the end. Bring it to the side. Go back in, do the same thing on your hook and 2 loops over. Bring it to the side. You want to just continue bringing your band through on your hook and 2 loops over. Now attach your stitch marker to that band that's around your hook, and you can remove it off the loom. You should have 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is on your hook. For round 2, we're going to add 2 bands to each chain. So you're just going to increase on each chain around. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, all the way around. At the end of round 2, you will have 16 stitches. So let's go on our first chain, and you're going to add 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in for your second band. Now moving on to your next chain with 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in, that same chain to pull your second band through, and continue on to the next chain with 2 bands. You're just going to repeat all the way until you get to the stitch marker. Back in. And the last chain, where your stitch marker is, you're adding 2 bands. So now you should have 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, we're going to increase this round. So the pattern is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. At the end of round 3, you will have 24 stitches. So you're just adding 2 bands in every second chain. So in my first stitch, not where it's getting pulled, you're adding 1 band. Chain 2, the next chain with 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in. So I'm just doing an increase. So that's giving us an extra stitch. Now you're going to repeat 1, 2. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next. and just repeat. 1, 2. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next. Back in. Now you just want to continue until you get to the stitch marker. So just follow the pattern. In the last stitch, where the stitch marker is, you're adding 2 bands. So again, you should have 24 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase on every 3rd stitch. So that means 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this all the way until you get to the stitch marker. At the end of round 4, you're going to have 32 stitches. So let's go in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and we're going to do a single crochet, so adding 1 band. The next chain, chain 2 with 1 band. And chain 3, you're adding 2 bands, 1 at a time. Back in that same chain for your second band. And you're just going to repeat 1, 1, 2. Back in. And repeat 1, 1, 2. And again, so you're just going to repeat all the way until you get to the stitch marker. So I'm almost done. I have one more section, and I can see that was a jelly band. That's okay. Then 1, 1, 2. I couldn't tell I used a jelly band. So now you should have 32 stitches. Remove that stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, we're going to increase to 36 stitches. This is going to be our last increase round. So this is the pattern. You're going to do 7 single crochets 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 7 single crochets followed by an increase. So you're increasing on every 8th stitch. Now this means you're going to do this 4 times. So at the end of round 5, you're going to have 36 stitches. So let's go on the first 7 chains with 1 band. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You're going all the way up to 7 chains with 1 band. Now, this is your 8th chain. You're adding 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. And you're going to repeat, again, 7 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, with 1 band in each. Now on the 8th chain, you're adding 2 bands, one at a time. So back in. And let's do this again. 7 single crochets followed by an increase. Then your increase, back in. And you're going to repeat this one more time. When you get to your stitch marker, you're adding your 2 bands. At my last stitch where my stitch marker is, and I have my 2 bands. So back in. So again, you should have 36 stitches. You're going to start to notice that it's going to curl in different directions. When you're done with the body, this is all going to go out nicely. So don't worry that if yours looks like this. You're going to remove your stitch marker because you have 36 stitches, and you're going to add your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. Okay, for the next 16 rounds, you're going to do 36 single crochets. So adding 1 band to each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I'm going to do round 6 with you, and then you're going to pause the video to continue the rest of the rounds and then come back to me when you're done. The bands didn't fit in each pile. Each round you'll need 36 bands. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So all the way to round 21. And we're going to do 36 single crochets. The stitch markers are there because I like to leave the stitch markers when I'm doing so many rounds that are the same. So in case I do get distracted, I know which round I'm at. So let's go ahead. I have 36 bands here, and I'm going to do round 6. So we're going to go in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and we're adding our first band to do a single crochet. Oops. Now continue going around, adding one band in each. So you're going to do this until you get to the stitch marker. I like to leave my stitch markers, like I said, and then just add another one. The shape of this is going to look weird for the next, I think, 6 rounds. And then it just fixes it, I can't even say it, fixes itself up and turns out great. So I know this was a concern for some of yous. It fixes on the other minions I meant. So you're just adding one band. Every couple of rounds, do check the amount of stitches that you have to make sure that you didn't start in the wrong stitch. You started in the next one over, not where it's getting pulled. You went all the way. You just want to make sure that you have 36 stitches, because the rest of his outfit might not fit. So I'm done the round, and this is where I'm going to add another stitch marker to the band that's around my hook. This end, you can pause the video now and come back to me when you're at round 21. So now we're at round 22, and this is what your minion body should look like. For round 22, I'm going to decrease this round to 32 stitches. So this is the pattern. You're going to do 7 single crochets, 1 band in the first 7 chains. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 7 times. Then on the 8th, you're going to do an invisible decrease. So I'm adding a second band. And when we get to that part, I will show you how we're going to do that. So we're going to decrease. Then you're going to repeat 7 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. Then you're going to repeat for a 3rd time with an invisible decrease using an extra band. Then we're going to do it one more time. So you're just repeating the pattern 4 times. So let's go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and we're going to add our first band. Then you're going to do that for 7 times, 1 band in each chain. So that was 1, chain 1, chain 2, chain 3, chain 4, just with a single crochet, chain 5, chain 6, and chain 7. Now for the invisible decrease. I'm going to do 2 slip stitches, 1 in each of the chains, the next 2 chains. So I'm going in my next chain. This is chain 8. Normally you could take chain 8 and chain 9 and stitch together, but I like how clean this finishes. So I'm going to go in chain 8, take my first band, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So both on my end, on my hook, the both ends, do a slip stitch, and I'm going to leave that on my hook. So I have 2 loops. Now I'm going in the next stitch, leaving these on my hook. I'm going to repeat by doing a slip stitch. So I have 3 loops on my hook. Now if you take this one at the tip of your hook and slide, you've just decreased. From 3 stitches, you just went down to that 2. Now we're going to repeat, so 1 band in the next 7 chains. Now for our decrease, I'm going in my next chain to do that slip stitch and leave it on my hook. The next chain, repeat with a slip stitch and leave it on your hook. Now you're going to slide. Now we're going to repeat 7 single crochets. Let me see if I can move this pattern up. 7 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So 1 band in the next 7 chains. Invisible decrease, so slip stitch in the next 2 chains. Now again, we're going to repeat the pattern. I'm just going to move these up. So 7 single crochets, and your last 2 chains we're going to stitch together with our invisible decrease. Last 2 stitches, invisible decrease. So I'm going to do a slip stitch, leave it on my hook, and the last stitch where your stitch marker is. Another slip stitch, leave it on your hook, 3 loops, and slide. Now you should have 32 stitches. We're going to remove our stitch marker and add it to the bend that's on around our hook. For round 23, we're going to decrease. So this is the pattern. 1, 1, followed by an invisible decrease. So you're doing 2 single crochets with an invisible decrease. Then you're going to repeat 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I add 2 bands when I'm decreasing. And then you're just going to repeat 2 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So that's like taking chains 3 and 4 and stitching together. But these ones I'm using an extra band. So at the end of round 23, you're going to have 24 stitches. So let's go on our first 2 chains with just 1 band, doing a single crochet in each. Now if you want, you can take 3 and 4 and stitch together, but I'm doing that invisible decrease, so I'm going to do a slip stitch in my next chain 2, slip stitch, 3 loops around my hook, and I'm going to slide. There's my decrease. So let's repeat 2 single crochets, 1, and then another, followed by an invisible decrease. Three loops and slide. Repeat the pattern, 1, 1, decrease. Three loops and slide. Now just continue all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. One last time. Three loops and slide, and you can remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your neck, and again, you should have 24 stitches. For round 24, we're going to make this round even smaller again. The pattern is going to be 1 single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm adding an extra band. So that's like taking stitch 2 and 3 and stitching together. Repeat single crochet followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm just adding an extra band. You're repeating this pattern 8 times. So at the end of round 24, you're going to have 16 stitches. When we're done this round, we're going to be adding some stuffing and filling it. So let's get started in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled. You want to go in your first chain and just add 1 band. So 1 single crochet. Now for an invisible decrease, we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 2 chains. Leave it on your hook. You have 2 loops, go to the next chain, do an slip stitch. So you have 3 loops and slide. Repeat your pattern. Make sure you don't go in the same chain. 1 single crochet followed by your invisible decrease. Three loops and slide. Repeat. 1. The next chain, you're starting your invisible decrease. Next stitch with your slip stitch. You have 3 loops and slide. Now you're just going to repeat the pattern all the way until you get to the stitch marker. Now you should have 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. You may want to push this up just a little bit and grab some stuffing to fill. Now I can stuff this one pretty good just because of the shape that it's in. So be careful. You want to make sure that you add just the right amount. You want to move it around inside so that you don't have those empty gaps, and you can pretty much fill this until you start seeing the stuffing coming out of the bands. You don't want that to happen. So I'm just like literally just opening it up, moving the stuffing around, and then you can check to make sure after if you overstuffed it. All you have to do is just roll it, move the stuffing around with your fingers, and I'm pretty sure I just overstuffed this. I'm just moving all the stuffing to the edges. I have like this opening down here, so I am going to put some more stuffing inside. And that should be okay. Maybe a little bit more. For round 25, we are going to do an invisible decrease to each stitch. So I'm going to decrease this round to 8 stitches when we're done. So right now, it's as if you were going to stitch 1 and 2 and stitch together. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do an invisible decrease. So your first 2 chains, we're going to decrease. So I'm going to do a slip stitch in each, and then do an invisible decrease. So I'm just adding my extra bands, and we'll get started. So I'm just going to push this back down, and I'm going to go in my first chain and do a slip stitch, so I'm not where it's getting pulled. And that slip stitch I'm going to leave on my hook and go on to the next stitch and then do that slip stitch. So I have the 3 loops and slide. The next 2, again, an invisible decrease, slip stitch, leave it on the hook, go to the next, slip stitch, 3 loops, and slide. You want to continue this all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. and slide. My last 2 stitches, same thing, an invisible decrease. And slide. Remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 26, we're going to close this off till we have 0 stitches. I'm going to do an invisible decrease to each stitch around. So my first 2 stitches I'm going to stitch together. And I'm just going to do this 4 times until I get to the stitch marker. When I get to the stitch marker, I'm going to use another band to do a slip knot in my next stitch to tie it closed. So let's make sure we're going in our first stitch, which are off to the side here, not where it's getting pulled. And we're going to do our invisible decrease. The next stitch. And slide. All this, when you're seeing it open, that's all going to disappear as soon as we move it around. Our next stitch, our invisible decrease, we're going to start with the slip stitch. The next stitch, slip stitch, all the way around until you get to that stitch marker. I'm right where this stitch marker is. I'm doing my invisible decrease. And I'm just going to go to the next stitch over, grab a single band, and I'm going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. And remove your stitch marker. Now all you want to do is just move around your stuffing. And move your bands around. And then it's okay. So the body is complete, and so is the suit. So you can put the little suit on, and then we're going to sew around it. So now to sew on the suit to the body, what we're going to do is do 36 single crochets. So I have 6 rows, 6 rows of 6. And I'm going to, with my hook, I'm going to face from the top, this is the top of the head, down to the, so from the yellow down to the blue. I'm going to be grabbing the stitches on the yellow on the body and then the stitch on the suit. So you want to find where you want the back of your minion's body and make sure that it's flat. I'm going to start right grabbing the first stitch that's right beside the slip knot in the back. So what I want to do is I want to grab the yellow and then grab the 2 chains on the suit. And I'm going to do my single crochet. I'm going to bring my band through both of those chains on my hook and slide. Now moving on to the next yellow chain on the body, make sure that you're in the same direction, the same row. Going over, grabbing the chain on the body, the chain on the suit, bring your band just through those 2 chains on your hook and slide. If you are grabbing from the suit then the body, you're going to have the yellow bands show through. So make sure you're grabbing the body first, then the blue bands, and bring your band through. You're going to do this all the way around until you get back to your slip knot. And during this time, you want to make sure that your body is not, it's not crooked, it's on properly, and you're sewing in that straight line. So I am judging where I should grab next bands on the body. Like I'm looking at it and I can see, besides trying to fix it as best as I can. Take your time and try not to grab the stuffing. It's just less work for you to pick at after. I went through one extra chain down here, so I'm going to just let go, redo it. I grabbed another band from the suit. I'm just going to make sure you notice that I'm fixing the blue to make sure that it's not falling down. And then it will just be all loose at the bottom. Now I'm at my last stitch, so I'm going to close this off by doing a slip knot. So I'm just going to grab my last chains, bring my band through all of the loops that are on my hook, and tie it off. And I'm just going to leave this now until I do the rope. Just make sure that everything is nice and straight.